Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had an amazing start to your weeks and a very happy Monday. Today we have a very interesting and educational video lined up for you. Is Cardano about to go parabolic? We're going to get into it in this video. Many of you that follow me regularly will know that I have a $7.50 to $10 price prediction for Cardano set out, and this is the kind of blueprint that I believe we're on, the roadmap that we are taking to get to that price. And of course you can see ELLIOT theory mapped out here, and ultimately the wave that I think we're about to embark on is the third wave within our fifth macro wave. So this wave here, this is typically going to be bigger than your first wave. That's the kind of rules to ELLIOT wave theory. And ultimately, are we going to see this parabolic end to the year like many people, and certainly the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory are predicting? We know Plan B has a Bitcoin price of around about, I think, $94,000 by the end of this year. Are we going to see that? We're going to be jumping into a number of things, supporting data. This is a piece from TechDev where he's pointing out 2013, 2017 and 2021 and how we're following a similar trajectory. We've certainly followed the last 4 years very, very accurately. It's what's allowed me to invest successfully in this market. But we're going to cover a variety of things. But one thing that I really want to do, and this is an educational point for many of you who are new to investing, one of the beautiful things about cryptocurrencies is it's allowed many of you who perhaps weren't investors to become that. And this is fantastic, but there's a lot of dangers with being an investor, and one of the biggest dangers is failing to understand how markets work and how price essentially is determined, and things like market cap, and really understanding what this all means. So this is really one of the points that I want to start with in relation to Cardano, because one of the main criticisms that I get is if Cardano has a $10 to take the higher end of my price prediction price, that would mean we have a $333 billion market cap. So how on earth are we going to, from where we are today, see an extra 260 odd US dollars flow into this market? It seems impossible, and the short answer to that is that's not what we're expecting. You can reach a $10 Cardano price and a $33 billion market cap without that capital needed to go into the asset, and this is because of how price is determined. Price is essentially determined by the liquid supply and exchanges being traded, so buy and sell pressure will move the price. We did a study on this previously on the channel where we looked at Bitcoin way back in May, when the market cap was around about $1 trillion, and there was a piece done where it essentially said that you need 4 million dollars to move the price of Bitcoin by 1%. That is significantly less than 1% of the overall market cap of Bitcoin at that time. And this is how price is determined. You know, many people wonder when we get these kind of sell-offs for Cardano. So, for example, this one over here, which at its kind of peak was around about 58%. 58% of the supply wasn't sold. It was just a overwhelming sell pressure in relation to buy pressure. People were taking profits, and it was actually a very small amount of the overall supply that was needed to cause this sell-off. If we know 70+% was staked at this time period, that 30%, it was even a smaller fraction of that, maybe 3% of that was actually needed to cause this sell pressure. Markets work on liquidity. And this essentially is all going to lead to the point that I'm about to make. It is a very fair criticism, but it's one that people make not really understanding how a market cap is established. We're going to use Bitcoin as a perfect example of this. We're also going to talk about Tesla to kind of show you a live illustration of this. Bitcoin currently has a market cap of $1.2 trillion. And what I'm here to tell you today, and this is a key for those of you who are now on your investment journey, a key principle to understand is there is not $1.2 trillion worth of value within Bitcoin. Now, that sounds very strange and contradictory, but what I'm trying to say here is you couldn't sell all the Bitcoin in existence that is circulating for $64,000. So once you sell some, the price will go down. Remember, the study that we looked at reckoned that $84 million worth of Bitcoin at $1 trillion market cap would move it 1%. So you can see where I'm really going with this. So it's a lot less money is actually needed to realize and to big up a market cap than many people think. The flow of money, $1.2 trillion hasn't flown into Bitcoin. The price has essentially gone up, and this has caused the market cap to grow with it in relation to the price of one Bitcoin times by how many there are. So can you see what I'm trying to say here? You don't need 33 or $333 billion in terms of market cap to get a $10 ADA price. Now that does sound really strange, but if the price is $10, just like we showed you a minute ago in relation to the price moving down by 55%, 55% could move to the upside without that money actually flowing in. So for a 55% gain, you wouldn't need $33.5 billion going into the market cap, if that makes sense. So what it's really based on price, and then market cap is secondary, if you will. This a very clear example of this that I'll give you just quickly, and then we'll get into, are we going to see these sort of $7.50 to $10 price predictions that we're talking about? A very good example of this is Tesla. We know that Elon Musk essentially sold off. There's quite a few contradictory figures on this, around about $5 billion worth of Tesla. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the $5 billion price at face value, even though many say that it's actually less than this. $5 billion worth of Tesla at a market cap of essentially $1 trillion, for argument's sake here, is 0.5% of 1%, so half of 1%. So if half of 1% of the price of the overall market cap was sold, $5 billion, why did we see a price deduction of nearly 20% on the day? Of course, there would have been other people selling along with this, selling the news, trying to capitalize on this. But Elon Musk, I'd make a very good argument, was the biggest seller at that time period. So there wasn't 20% of the overall market cap sold, if that makes sense. It was a very small amount that actually had a big effect on things. So that's really what I'm trying to highlight. That works to both the up and the downside. These markets move very fast, and the main takeaway here is it actually takes a very small amount of the overall market cap to move the price significantly, because price is first and market cap is secondary. It's a metric of the price, if that makes sense. So I hope that does make sense. Back into the video. Let's talk about Cardano and let's show some bullish indicators. First of all, why do we believe that the next 2 months, and time is running out, time is of the essence at this point. Why do we believe that we are going to see a spectacular price movement? Well, essentially, we followed the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory to date. This is something that we've covered on greater lengths, where we have these kind of cycles. There is some contradictory data, which I'm going to talk about, but this is TechDev pointing out where we were in 2013, 2017 and 2021. Are we going to see that repeat in 2021? We followed it very, very closely to date. Does it have to repeat? Absolutely not, but there is a good probability that it will. We have Plan B stock to flow model, which predicts a $94,000 Bitcoin by the end of this month. One of the best ways to tell is by seeing how this month fares and what actually happens. There is a lot of contradictory data in regards to the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory and how this will end. I've been a big fan and a big proprietor of this theory, but as time's gone on, I'm a lot more leaning towards the lengthening cycle theory, and I get this from looking at Bitcoin's life history on the chart, and essentially dictating that from cycle top to cycle top, the time periods have gotten longer, and you can see that is quite well illustrated, and we can actually show you a schematic of this where we've essentially overlaid the previous cycles onto the current day, and you can see that cycles do indeed get longer. So I actually think in terms of a bull market, there is quite a high likelihood that we actually top out next year, if you will. But are we still going to see some sort of volatile price movement towards the end of the year? It's absolutely possible, and we're certainly following the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory to date. And ultimately, in relation to Cardano, if this is the third leg that we're talking about, and the third leg's bigger than the first leg, if we take the first leg in terms of percentages, it's around about 203%. Now let's just take this as the same sort of wave size. Remember, the third leg's typically going to be bigger. This gives us a price target of around about $4. Let's move that out of the way, actually. This gives us a price target of around about $5.51. So I actually think that this wave is going to be bigger. I think you could see a $6 to $7 price within this move, which we are on the very precipice of now, ladies and gentlemen. Not only are we setting up structure here that we set up over here, things look absolutely fantastic on a number of indicators. I'm going to pull up here for you the RSI. you can see that typically after you reach these sort of levels on the RSI, a recovery will ensue and a move to the upside will take place. Historically, this has been accurate, and I'm here to tell you that I believe this is going to continue to be the case. Certainly on the daily, you can see here when we kind of bottomed here, a recovery ensued, and you're doing very much the same price movement over here with these marginally higher highs and higher lows that you did over here, ladies and gentlemen. And this is going to lead to a breakout. Second indicator I want to show you, and we do have a third, is the MACD on the daily. This looks absolutely fantastic. And again, in relation to this pattern over here playing out again today, you can see that the similar things are essentially playing out. Can you see this? You have this kind of double bottom on the MACD. You've had that here, and we're ultimately expecting this continuation. We've got the slam down here. We spoke about what happened and why cryptocurrency markets sold off on the 11th, but ultimately I'm expecting this to continue. I don't think there's going to be a death cross, if you will, form here. I think these are going to bounce, and we're going to see the upside, and you can see this with the kind of bar patterns that you have playing out. The next one that I want to show you is, of course, the stock RSI on the weekly. This, of course, is the daily. And where we are, ladies and gentlemen, you're about to form a bullish cross on your stock RSI, and typically this has led to a explosive move to the upside, and I think you are going to see that. So there are three indicators. We also have the Elliott wave theory in play, and we have our kind of structure setting up, or structure repeating, and typically it's going to repeat in the same manner. If something's played out 9 out of 10 times to the upside, there's a good likelihood it's going to continue to do that. Doesn't have to happen. Remember, this is all largely speculation until it actually happens, but it's speculation based on data. Another very good indicator to suggest that we're going to see an explosive move to the upside is where we are in relation to the 20-year MA on the weekly. This has typically been an amazing buying opportunity. We can couple that with the hard forks and what comes after the capitulation and consolidation that happens after the hard forks. Is typically a fantastic time to enter the market. That's historically been true. We've done so much on this channel to reiterate our bullish bias, that I don't see how you can be bearish. But this was really just a very short and sweet video. You can see you also have similar things setting up on the volume profile. This is more clearly illustrated on the daily. Can you see how you have this decline of volume and then it will kind of come back up, and you look to be on the right side of that? I'll make the volume a little bit more clear. Can you see a volume profile here? Can you see how you have this arching and you come back up, you come down, and you look to be coming back up, ladies and gentlemen? It's probably better illustrated on the weekly, actually. Can you see this? Something big is coming, guys. You can see how you have the drop off and this decline in volume before you then spike to the upside. And you're there today, ladies and gents. That is really all I have for you. Now, I still do absolutely believe that we could see this $7.50 to $10 price prediction. Certainly by the end of this year. I think if not, we are going to see it into next year. Lots of supporting data. Are we going to end 2021 in a similar fashion to 2017 and prior to that 2013? There obviously is evidence for that. My take on this is we are going to see a lot of bullish price action. I think that for Cardano, we potentially are going to edge towards that $7.50 price by the end of the year. I think that's very, very likely, given that we are on this third wave and we are just about to embark on it, having had an ABC correction. And ultimately, I do believe, and people say, okay, well, how come you've changed your bias? You know, you're not allowed to do that. You can't blindly follow something. If evidence comes up to suggest otherwise, I actually think that we're going to top out in 2022. I think there's a number of fundamental reasons for this, like the players that we have involved. You know, I was listening to a podcast on Ethereum 2 that's coming out next year. There's a number of reasons to suggest that we may top out next year fundamentally. Technically also, if you look at the lengthening cycle theory and you overlay cycles, you can see that there is certainly a lengthening to them. That is really all I have for you in this video, guys. Hang in there. Cardano is looking extremely bullish, and I am expecting it to go parabolic any day now. In regards to markets, certainly when people ask me if now is a good time to buy, although this is not financial advice, and it absolutely isn't, nothing I say or do on this channel is financial advice, I would say right now is a fantastic time to enter Cardano if you are looking to do so. Do not hang around for much longer. In the same way we were willing to accumulate over here on the basis that even if we did get marginally, even if we did get a low, it would be marginal, which we've seen. You guys remember me saying that. We're very happy to accumulate in this price range, knowing what's coming in the next leg. That is all I have for you in this video, ladies and gentlemen. I thought it was a very interesting take in relation to markets and how, in actual fact, you don't need $33 billion to flow in, or $260 billion to actually flow into Cardano for it to go to that $10. Really, you need the price to move, and the market cap will be determined by that secondary. That is all I have for you in this video. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. If you enjoyed the content, like is always appreciated. So is a comment. Remember, we do have the all-in crypto stake pool. We are growing in delegators by the day, and there is also a link to our Discord in the description. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Have a fantastic Monday.